The Mystery at City Heights Hotel. Chapter 1. The Forgotten Bag. Clara smiled as she stepped behind the reception desk at City Heights Hotel. It was her first week on the job, and everything still felt new and exciting. The lobby was bright and busy, filled with the sound of rolling suitcases and voices from all over the world. "Good morning. How can I help you?" she said, greeting a tall man with a gray coat and dark sunglasses. The man placed a small brown bag on the counter. "One moment," he said, looking around nervously. Before Clara could say anything, he walked away toward the elevator. Clara watched him go, confused. "Excuse me, sir?" "Your bag," she called, but he didn't turn back. She glanced at the clock on the wall. 5 minutes passed. 10. The man didn't return. Clara frowned and looked at the bag. It was small but heavy. What's inside? She wondered. She shouldn't open it, that would be against the rules, but curiosity got the better of her. Slowly, she unzipped the bag. Inside, she found a folded piece of paper and a shiny silver key. The paper had a message written in bold letters: "The time is running out. 9th floor, room 913. Clara's heart raced. Room 913? She remembered the hotel manager saying that room had been empty for weeks. Who was the man? Why had he left this strange note? She looked around the lobby. No one seemed to notice her. Should she go to the 9th floor and check the room? Or should she tell her manager? Her hands shook slightly as she zipped the bag back up. What would you do? Clara whispered to herself, her eyes on the elevator doors. She took a deep breath and stepped toward them. Chapter 2. A Locked Door. Clara stood in the elevator, holding the small leather bag. Her heart was racing. Who left it? What does the note mean? She thought. The elevator doors opened, and she stepped onto the quiet 9th floor. Room 913 was at the end of the hallway. Clara walked slowly, looking around. The air felt colder here, and the lights flickered slightly. She reached the door. It was locked. Clara knocked softly. "Hello? Is anyone there?" No answer. She knocked again, louder this time. Still nothing. Clara tried to open the door, but it wouldn't budge. "Why is this room locked?" she whispered to herself. Just then, she heard a voice behind her. "What are you doing here?" Startled, she turned around to see Peter, the hotel's maintenance worker. Peter was holding a toolbox and looking at her with curious eyes. "Peter, do you know anything about room 913? Clara asked. Peter scratched his head. "That room? No one has stayed there for weeks. It's always empty." Clara showed him the bag and the note inside. Peter frowned. "That's strange. I've never seen anything like this. But I can help you check the system for information." Clara smiled. "Thank you, Peter." The two walked back to the lobby. Peter logged into the hotel's computer system. "Here we go," he said. "Room 913. Wait a minute." His face grew serious. "There's activity here. Someone booked it 3 days ago." But there's no guest name. No check-in. Clara's heart sank. Who is using this room? Why is there no record? Before they could investigate further, the hotel manager appeared behind them. "What are you two doing?" he asked sharply. Clara froze. Would they get in trouble? To be continued. Chapter 3: The Strange Symbol. Clara sat at her desk, staring at the small leather bag. Inside, she found a folded piece of paper. On the paper, there was a strange drawing, a circle with lines, like a sun. Below it, there were 2 words, Aurora meeting. What does this mean? Clara asked herself. She showed the paper to Peter, the maintenance worker. Have you seen this symbol before? She asked. Peter scratched his head. I think I saw it somewhere. Maybe in the storage room. It's an old symbol. People say it's connected to something secret. Secret? Like what? Clara whispered. Peter shrugged. I don't know. Maybe a club? Maybe something dangerous? His voice was low, almost a whisper. Clara decided to check the hotel system. She typed room 913 into the computer. Something caught her eye. Look at this, Peter, she said. There was a reservation for room 913 last week. But no one checked in. Peter leaned closer. That's strange. Who made the reservation? The name on the reservation was only 1 word, Aurora. What is Aurora? A person? A group? Clara asked out loud. She felt the mystery growing. We need to find out. At that moment, the hotel lights flickered. The computer screen went black. An alarm started to ring. Clara's heart raced. What's happening? She asked. Peter looked nervous. Maybe it's a power problem, he said. But his face showed fear. Let's go to the 9th floor, Clara said. We need to see what's in room 913. As they walked to the elevator, Clara felt like someone was watching them. She turned her head, but no one was there. Who was behind this? And what was the Aurora meeting?
Ei, você! Eu sei, eu estou interrompendo os seus estudos, mas olha, eu tenho uma lembrança importante para você. Eu vou deixar aqui embaixo na descrição desse vídeo um link com a mensagem 105 palavras mais frequentes para você baixar. Essas palavras são para o idioma inglês, espanhol, japonês, italiano, francês e mandarim. Essas 105 palavras foram cuidadosamente selecionadas para ajudar você a acelerar o seu aprendizado e tornar os seus estudos ainda mais eficientes. São as palavras mais usadas no dia a dia. Baixe agora mesmo e comece a usar essas palavras em suas práticas diárias. Clique no link da descrição, baixe as palavras e continue os seus estudos ainda muito mais motivado.
Chapter 4: The Hidden Passage. Clara and Peter stood in front of room 913. The hallway was quiet and the air felt heavy. Peter tapped on the wall near the door. Listen, he whispered. Doesn't it sound hollow? Clara leaned in and nodded. What could be behind it? Clara asked, her voice trembling. She touched the wall gently, feeling a small crack. Peter pulled out a screwdriver from his tool belt. Let's find out. Slowly, Peter worked on the panel. The wall creaked as he removed a hidden latch. Suddenly, the panel slid open, revealing a dark passage. Clara's heart raced. A secret passage? "Why is this here?" she whispered. The two stepped inside cautiously. The air smelled old, like dust and forgotten places. The passage was narrow, and Clara had to hold her breath to avoid the cobwebs. At the end, they found a small hidden room. Inside, there was a table covered in papers and maps. On the wall, Clara saw the same symbol she had seen on the leather bag. "It's the sun symbol again," she said, pointing at it. Peter opened a drawer and found a small box with the same symbol. "Look at this," Peter said, holding up the box. Clara's hands shook as she opened it. Inside was a broken clock and a shiny, golden key. Before they could speak, they heard footsteps outside the passage. Clara froze. "Someone is coming," she whispered. The footsteps grew louder, and a shadow appeared near the entrance of the secret room. Clara held her breath. "What do we do now?" Peter whispered, looking around desperately. The shadow moved closer. They were trapped. Chapter 5: The Confrontation. Clara held her breath. She and Peter were hiding behind a tall shelf filled with dusty papers. The small, secret room was silent except for the sound of footsteps. Someone was coming. "Do you think they'll find us?" Clara whispered. Peter shook his head and pointed to the door. "Stay calm. We need a plan," he said softly. The footsteps grew louder. Suddenly, the secret door opened and 3 men entered. One of them was the hotel manager. Clara's heart raced. She could hear every beat. "Where is it?" the manager asked angrily. "What are they looking for?" Peter mouthed silently to Clara. One of the men walked to the empty box on the table. He picked it up and slammed it back down. "It's gone! Someone took it!" Clara clutched the key and the broken watch in her pocket. Were they talking about the box? Did they know she had it? "Search the room," the manager barked. Clara froze as one of the men walked toward their hiding spot. He was getting closer, step by step. Suddenly, Peter grabbed an old book from the shelf and threw it across the room. It hit the floor with a loud thud. "What was that?" one of the men shouted. They all turned toward the noise. "Run!" Peter whispered urgently. Clara bolted for the door, her heart pounding. She could hear the men yelling behind her. Peter stayed back, trying to slow them down. Clara raced down the hallway, gripping the key tightly. She had to get to the coffer before they caught her. But where did the key lead? And why was the broken watch so important? She didn't have the answers yet. But she was about to find out. What will Clara discover next? Chapter 6: The Final Puzzle. Clara and Peter stood in the cold, dark basement. The small silver key was shaking in Clara's hand. "This is it," Peter whispered. "Are you ready?" Clara nodded, but her heart was racing. She slid the key into the old coffer. It clicked. The door opened slowly. Inside, they found a small disk and an envelope marked Aurora Files. What is this? Clara asked. Peter picked up the disc and turned it over in his hand. It's evidence, he said. It shows everything the hotel manager is hiding. Clara looked at the envelope. It was filled with papers, maps, and names. This could ruin him, she said. Suddenly, footsteps echoed in the hallway. Someone was coming. We need to hide, Peter whispered. They ducked behind a stack of boxes just as the hotel manager entered. He was not alone. 2 men in suits followed him. Find the files, the manager barked. We can't let anyone see them. Clara's heart pounded. What should we do? She thought. She looked at Peter. He gave her a small nod. Quietly, Clara slipped the disc into her bag. Then she whispered, "We have to get out." As they crept toward the door, one of the men saw them. "Hey! Stop!" he yelled. Clara and Peter ran as fast as they could. The men chased them up the stairs and into the lobby. "Stop them!" the manager shouted. Clara turned to Peter. "We can't run forever," she said. "We need to finish this." Peter pointed to the front desk. "Call the police," he said. "I'll hold them off." Clara hesitated. Would she make it in time? Could they stop the manager before it was too late? She grabbed the phone. "Hello, police? I need help, now." Cliffhanger, the manager's men were closing in. Would Clara and Peter escape? Would the files be enough to reveal the truth?